Today we are going to know about the essentially required material for the photosynthesis, and we are going to know about the whole process of photosynthesis. There are different steps that is happen in the photosynthesis, and there are some exception in the photosynthesis where photosynthesis, or rather the steps of the photosynthesis, they cannot happen sequentially. So now first thing is, what are the necessary materials for photosynthesis? There are four things, that is sunlight, chlorophyll, carbon dioxide and water. These four things are essentially required for photosynthesis. Without any one of these material or of these things, photosynthesis cannot happen. And until and unless plant can collect this any one of this material, it cannot start the photosynthesis. Now the thing is that how we prove that these things are, these four things are essentially required for photosynthesis. So there are two experiments. One is variegated leaf experiment, which experiment explain that sunlight and chlorophyll are necessary for photosynthesis. And there are another experiment which is called half leaf experiment. This half leaf experiment also explain that the carbon dioxide is the necessary material for photosynthesis. So these two experiments prove that these are the necessary materials for photosynthesis. Now we are going to see some diagram. Here in the first diagram we can see that a green leaf is covered by an aluminum foil. Now if we allow this leaf to photosynthesize, so after some time, if we remove the aluminum foil and we make a starch test on the leaf, so we can see that the area that was not covered by the aluminum foil, this area responds in starch experiment, and the area that is covered by the aluminum foil, this area cannot respond in starch experiment. So from these things we can easily prove that the area which are not covered, they contain chlorophyll and they also get sunlight. So they produce carbohydrate in their cell. So that is why this part is responsive in starch experiment or blue black, or give blue black color. And the portion that was covered by aluminum foil, that portion do not get sunlight. So that is why the cells or pigment or chlorophyll that was present in that section only, they cannot produce photosynthesis. So that is why they do not respond in starch test and they get a brown color. So from this experiment we can easily prove that sunlight and chlorophyll, these two elements are essentially required in photosynthesis, because the area that was not covered, that area get chlorophyll and sunlight as well as. So that is why that area can produce carbohydrate in their part, and the area that was covered by aluminum foil, that area did not get sunlight. So that is why the pigment or cell present in that area only, they cannot produce carbohydrate. And there is another experiment, that is variegated leaf experiment. In this experiment we take a leaf in which some part of the leaf is green and some part of the leaf is yellow. So when we again make an experiment that is starch test on that leaf and that leaf also, so we can see that the green area, so the area where chlorophyll was present, that area can respond in starch test, and the yellow area where chlorophyll was not present, that area does not respond in starch test. From again in this experiment we can again prove that chlorophyll and sunlight both are essentially required for the photosynthesis. Now we go to the next experiment, that is half leaf experiment. So this one is the half leaf experiment, where a half portion of a leaf of a plant is we put in a jar which is contain caustic potash. So what is the function of caustic potash? Caustic potash, the function of the caustic potash is it absorbs carbon dioxide that is produced in the photosynthetic process on that part of the leaf. So caustic potash can absorb the carbon dioxide. So that is why plant, this part of the plant that is get into the jar, this part of the plant cannot get carbon dioxide from the air. So now we test whether without carbon dioxide the plant can produce photosynthesis or can produce carbohydrate or not. So after the experiment we easily see that the portion that was into the jar, that portion cannot produce photosynthesis. Again we do a starch test on that leaf, so easily from that we can easily prove that that portion that is in the jar, that portion cannot produce carbohydrate through the process of photosynthesis. So from this experiment we can easily explain that carbon dioxide is another material which is necessary for photosynthesis. So these two are basically two experiment, what is variegated leaf experiment and half leaf experiment, to prove that sunlight, chlorophyll, carbon dioxide and water, these are the essential material for photosynthesis. Now we are going to know about the process of photosynthesis. There are basically three steps in the whole process of photosynthesis. The first step is the absorption of light energy by chlorophyll, and the second step is conversion of light energy into chemical energy and splitting of water into hydrogen and oxygen, and the third step is reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrate. Now we are discussing about those steps step by step. The first step of the photosynthesis is absorption of light energy by chlorophyll. The chlorophyll pigment that is present in the plant or leaf, that particular chlorophyll absorb the light energy or photon particles which is coming from the sun. Now the question is, the sunlight which is coming from the sun, all the photon particles or all the sunlight, can it absorb? Now the answer is no. There is only some amount of or some wavelength of light which chlorophyll can absorb. So these photon particles or this light is absorbed by the chlorophyll, and after absorbing or as a result of absorbing, chlorophyll becomes so much excited. It becomes so much excited that it emits electron from its body. Now the fact is, there are different types of chlorophyll, that is chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, and so many types. So all the chlorophylls that are present in a leaf, all the chlorophyll, they absorb sunlight, and after absorbing sunlight they become very much excited, so that they emit electron. So this is the first process in or first step in photosynthetic process, that is absorption of light energy by chlorophyll. Now we are going to the second step or second process, that is conversion of light energy into chemical energy. Now the light energy that is absorbed by the chlorophyll of the plant, that particular light energy is converted to chemical energy. Chemical energy means here chemical energy is formed in the form of ATP. This is adenosine triphosphate. Okay, ATP is the main chemical source of energy which is used by any living organism. So that is why plant is also a living organism. So in plant, chemical energy is always processed in the form of ATP. So the light that is absorbed by the chlorophyll, that particular light energy is converted to chemical energy in the form of ATP, and that particular chemical energy, that is ATP, is further used in the whole process or used in the whole living process that is going on in the plant. So this is the main source of energy in the plant body. Now the second part of this point is of this step is splitting of water into hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, the splitting of water is always happen in the presence of sunlight. The sunlight that is coming from the sun, that particular sunlight split the water into hydrogen and oxygen and emit electron. Okay, so hydrogen and oxygen, that is water is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. So after, if we remove electron from the water, then water molecule can be divided into hydrogen and oxygen. So here it is actually molecular oxygen. That molecular oxygen comes out from the tree to the nature through the pore, that is stomata. Okay, so and that molecular oxygen we also use for to live, or we also use that oxygen for breathe. So this is the only source of oxygen in the world or in the nature which is produced in the plant body. And the hydrogen or the electron that is produced in the splitting of water, that hydrogen and electron is further processed or further required in further process of the photosynthesis, that is, or further any other biological process that is going to happen in plant body. So these are the second step of conversion of light energy into chemical energy and the splitting of water into hydrogen and oxygen. So without the first step, and with the first step, second step cannot happen. Now without the second step, the third step cannot happen. That, and the third step is reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrate. Now one thing you have to remember, here in the second step we see that water is splitted to hydrogen and oxygen. How? The water, they emit electron and they break down into hydrogen and oxygen. This emission of electron, that means if electron comes out from a molecule, or a molecule lose electron, then this incident is called oxidation. So we can easily say that in photosynthesis water is oxidized to hydrogen and oxygen. So this is a one reaction, that is oxidation of water. And the second reaction that is happen in the photosynthesis, that is reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrate. So that is the reaction of reduction reaction. And if oxidation is the loss of electron, then we can easily say that reduction is the gain of electron. That means the electron that was oxidized or lost from the water molecule, that particular electron is again gained or reduced by carbon dioxide, and then carbon dioxide is converted to carbohydrate. This is the actually third process of the photosynthesis, or the last process. So last process is reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrate by gaining of electron. That electron is produced by oxidation of water in the second step. So that is why we can easily say that, or we can, on the other hand, we can say that photosynthesis is the process of oxidation and reduction. That means oxidation and reduction, both the chemical process or both the reaction is happen in photosynthesis at a same time. Okay, now the question is why it is that is reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrate, it is called the dark reaction. As we in the previous class we have seen that from water to oxygen, this production is called light reaction, and from carbon dioxide to carbohydrate, this production is called dark reaction. So water to oxygen, this is the oxidation reaction, and carbon dioxide to carbohydrate, this is the reduction reaction. Okay, now why it is called dark reaction? It is called dark reaction because in the reaction where carbon dioxide converted to carbohydrate, in that reaction sunlight is not required. Okay, so as sunlight is not required, so we can easily say that this is a dark reaction. But dark reaction, it does not mean that this reaction always happen in night. Dark reaction can also happen in daytime, but in this reaction sunlight is not required. So that is why this reaction is called dark reaction. And the splitting of water into oxygen and hydrogen, in this process sunlight is required, so we can say that oxidation of water or the splitting of water into hydrogen and oxygen, this is a light reaction. Now there are some exception of the photosynthesis. That means exception means if we follow the process, in the case of exception, the process that is followed by the normal plant, this plant never follow the process step by step. That means the step we have learned from recently, that there is a three step. One is absorption of light, and second is conversion of light energy to chemical energy, and the splitting of water into hydrogen and oxygen, and the third step is reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrate. So these are the basic steps of photosynthesis. But if any plant, they do not follow the basic steps of photosynthesis step by step, so easily we can say that there are some exception of the process, but it does not mean that in that exceptional process in which that organism that show the exception of photosynthesis process, they are missing some one or two some step. It is not. They always follow all the steps, but they do not follow the steps sequentially. Now we are taking some example. We are taking some plants that are grown in desert area. So we can easily say we know that in desert area there are so many hot weather is so many hot. So in daytime, the present in the desert, the plant is present, they do not open their stomata. Okay, so that their water, that water present in the plant, the water cannot evaporate. So that is why the plant that is present in desert area, they do not open their stomata in the daytime. Rather, they open their stomata in the night. Okay, when sunlight or the hot or the temperature is very low in the night. So that is why this plant open their stomata in the night, and on that time, that is on night, they absorb the carbon dioxide. So in daytime they do not absorb the carbon dioxide. Okay, so because in daytime their stomata is closed, when the night time they open the stomata, on the night time only they absorb the carbon dioxide, and in the night time after absorbing the carbon dioxide they make an intermediate molecule, which is suppose there is a malic acid. This is an example of intermediate molecule that is produced in the plant that is present in desert. Okay, so malic acid is a intermediate molecule. So after forming the malic acid, the process of photosynthesis stop, and the malic acid or the process of photosynthesis or the next part of the process that start in the daytime. So in the daytime, when there is sunlight, so plant absorb the sunlight to the chlorophyll. Now this, the part that is rest in the process, this part is happen, and this part is happen from starting the malic acid. So that is the intermediate molecule. So that intermediate molecule is acted upon the absorption of sunlight energy from the chlorophyll during the daytime. So there is an exception in that case. In the normal plant, light reaction and dark reaction both can happen in daytime also, but in the desert plant, that means that plant are present in the desert, so in the daytime they cannot open their stomata, so that is why light reaction cannot happen in daytime. Okay, rather in daytime they actually process the another thing, and when they absorb the carbon dioxide, say they absorb the carbon dioxide in the night, and in the night they produce another intermediate molecule. So after producing intermediate molecule, the process is stopped, and the rest of the process can still continue in daytime when they absorb the sunlight. So example of exception of this process, that is pineapple tree, opuntia, any type of cactus. So these are the plant that is grown in a desert plant. So and they process the process of photosynthesis, but in an exceptional way. So this is actually what are the materials required for the photosynthesis, and this is the process of photosynthesis, the steps of photosynthesis, and the exception that is happening in photosynthesis.